Today we're going to look at straight line graphs. As you watch this video, you need to make some notes in your exercise book on things that you think are important. This doesn't just mean copying down everything that I say. Here are some equations of straight lines. If I substitute values for x into each of the equation, I'll be able to get a value for y. If I then plot these points, I will end up with a straight line. You will notice that there are some things that are the same about all of the graphs. They all start y equals, they all have a number in front of the x, and then they all have a plus or a minus at the end of the equation. All straight line graphs have an equation that looks like this. We can generalise this to y equals mx plus c. The m stands for the gradient and the plus c stands for the y-intercept. This sounds a bit complicated, but it actually just means where the graph cuts the y-axis. If you have a look at this equation, y equals 2x plus 3, the number in front of the x is 2, so this is the gradient, and the number at the end is plus 3, so this graph has a y-intercept of plus 3, or it cuts the y-axis at plus 3. If you have a look at this graph again, it's y equals 7x minus 2. So the number in front of the x is 7. So this graph has a gradient of 7. And the number at the end is minus 2. So this graph has a y-intercept or cuts the y-axis at minus 2. This one here is slightly different, because the number in front of the x this time is minus 3. So this time the gradient is minus 3 and the number at the end is plus 4. So this graph has got a gradient of minus 3 and cuts the y-axis at 4. Okay, it's your turn now. I've given you a worksheet that has the equations that are going to come up in the next 5 questions on it. You need to write the answers to the following questions on the worksheet. You need to give the gradient and the y-intercept. Listen to the video and pause it while you write your answer down. So here's question 1. The equation of the graph is y equals 6x minus 2. Pause the video while you decide what the gradient and what the y-intercept, or where the graph cuts the y-axis, is for this equation. Here's question number 2. Be careful with this one because there's something that might make you make a mistake. The equation is y equals minus 2x plus 3. Pause the video while you decide what your gradient and y-intercept is for this question. Here's question number 3. Y equals 7x minus 2. You know what to do by now, so off you go. Here's question number 4. Y equals minus a half x plus 4. Just because it looks different doesn't mean it is. Pause the video while you decide what the gradient and y-intercept is. And here's your final question, number 5. The equation is y equals a third x minus 2. Pause the video and make your choice. If your equation has a positive number in front of the x, i.e. it's got a positive gradient, it will look like that on your axes. If your graph has got a negative number in front of the x, so it's got a negative gradient, it will look like that on your axes. It's very important that you remember this because it's useful to know what the graph is going to look like before you draw it. Okay, last piece of information for you. You need to make sure that you complete the worksheet on this video by Tuesday the 10th of November. We will use the information that you have got from the video in the lesson on that day. If you have any problems or any questions, you need to come and see me before the 10th of November. Do not leave it until the lesson. Okay? Bye-bye.